Okay, I went ahead and removed all of the adhesive that was stuck on the frame. Cleaned it up the best I could, and that's just so that the new back plate will fit on there really nicely, and I won't have any issues with gaps or anything. But what I've got to do now is actually put the new charging coil in the back of the battery, and I've got to line it up pretty much exactly so that it will, all the connectors and everything will line up. So I'm going to try to do that now. This is obviously the old battery with the coil still on it. This is the new battery. And here is the new coil. And it's got the adhesive on it, so open that up. Alright, so there we go. And there's no adhesive. There's supposed to be adhesive, and there's no adhesive. So that's great. There seems to be adhesive on this side, which is what's going to stick it to the back of the frame, but there doesn't seem to be adhesive on this side, which is what sticks it to the battery. Alright, I'm going to go get some adhesive from the store, and we will continue this in a moment. Alright, so I went to the store and got some of this Scotch brand adhesive, which worked really well for attaching the charging coil there. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the battery into the mid frame. And just to be extra sure, I'm going to add a little bit of this around the edges of the battery just to make sure it sticks in there really well, because I'm pretty sure this is going to fit right in here like such. Yeah, just like that. And I want to be sure that everything is going to fit in nice and clean and stick well. So I'm just going to add some of this. This stuff is really deep. I've never actually seen this stuff before, but it works really well, or at least it seems to. Okay, so that should be enough adhesive. Now I've got to peel the adhesive off of the charging coil, off the front here. So there we go, there's that. And now it should go straight into the mid frame, like so. We'll stick the this guy through there just so I know it's there, and I'm just gonna press it to make sure it all fits in there nicely, which it does seem to do. Alright, and now I've got to actually, there's some little adhesive on the back of this connector, so I got to peel the film off of this. And this should kind of snap into place. And that little peg there. It doesn't quite fit properly on that peg. I think the peg is just a little too big for the hole. But it has adhesive on the back, so that's probably going to hold it in place. So there you can see what I was looking at is that little guy there. And that's it for the battery installation. So we've got the new charging coil on, and the battery in the mid frame. We are ready to reattach it back to the front of the phone. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I went around and cleaned all the adhesive off of the edges so that everything should fit back together really well. That was actually this side that I cleaned adhesive off of, so yeah. Alright, so here are the two halves of the phone. I'm going to just lightly spray everything with duster just to get any dust that may have found its way in out. It's also a really nice opportunity to clean out this charging port really well, I guess. Go ahead and do that. I did actually take the time to pop the front camera out and clean the lens behind it, because my front camera lens has always had dust behind it, and now it's nice and clean in there. So that was a nice little bonus to this whole project. now we should be able to fit this into here, and everything should, in theory, line up. Okay, so I was having a little trouble with the battery going in, and what I realized is this is the old battery, but what I realized is my my connector had actually come uncurled like that, and I had to actually go back in and curl it back over so that the connector would be in the right position. So I've done that now, and you can see it's in a much better position than it was earlier. So now everything should go back together without issue. So we're going to try this again. Okay, so I had a little trouble with the screen not wanting to stay in place, so I stuck a couple of screws in to hold it, and I had a little trouble with the battery connector, but I got it figured out. So now I should be able to, at this point, power it back on. So there we go. And we'll check and see if everything is working, and then I'll continue the reassembly. While it's booting up, I'm going to go ahead and insert the SIM tray. Alright, so it has booted back up. Touchscreen is of course working, so that's good. Vibration motor is working, I just felt that. Got some lint down in the thing. Alright, so buttons are working. Let's see, let's try to play some audio here. Alright, we'll pause that before I get a copyright claim, but both the speakers seem to be working. Let's try the cameras. So rear camera is working, and front camera is working. So that's it. It appears that everything is in fact working. So the only thing I have left to test is the charging coil, so I'm going to go test that real quick. Okay, so I went and tested the charging coil, and it is in fact working. I'm not sure what was wrong with the one from the factory and why it didn't work, but the new one works perfectly fine, and now I can finally use that wireless charging pad that I bought. So I'm going to turn this back off and finish the reassembly. Alright, so that's all the screws back in, and the frame seems to be fitting, or the screen seems to be fitting fairly tightly against the frame. I don't see any obvious bulges or anything that looks out of whack. So I'm going to go around one more time and make sure all the screws are tight, and then we will continue on to putting the back plate on. Alright, so now we are ready for the back plate, and it's got the adhesive on it. I just got to peel this blue sheet off, line it up, and press it down, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to try to not mess this up, so let's go ahead and peel this off very carefully. Alright, there we go. I'm going to start at the top and line it up. And that is it. I am done. Now, I bought all of my parts on eBay and I only spent about 30 bucks, so it's really nice to get a new OEM battery, which means my battery life is going to return to hopefully what it was when it was new, which was pretty good. I mean, not amazing, but a lot better than it is now. The charging coil was an OEM replacement. It was a used part, I believe. No. I was going to buy a used part, but that was actually a new OEM replacement. So that was OEM. The only thing that wasn't an OEM replacement was the back panel. It just said replacement back panel, but looking at the two, I mean, even if it's not an OEM replacement, it's really, really close. I mean, I can't tell any difference. Besides the obvious difference, this one's been worn down, and this one still has the matte finish, which is what it had when it was new, but mine's obviously been worn down to a more of a glossy finish from use. But yeah, I mean, it looks excellent. It fits perfectly. The Nexus lettering looks exactly the same. The Motorola logo looks just as good. So even though it didn't say it was an OEM replacement part, I'm thinking it's probably going to be just fine. Yeah, there you go. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I'm super excited to finally have wireless charging. I was really bummed out when I bought that wireless charging pad and found out that the wireless charging on my phone just didn't work. And I don't really know why. I mean, I can't really see anything wrong with the coil. Everything seems to be perfect. I did rip the connector out when I was taking it apart, but that's simply, I mean, I knew that wasn't going to be an issue because I was taking it apart anyway. So I did have a little trouble getting the back plate off and getting the battery to separate, but overall, the only things I had trouble with were parts that I was replacing anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. And it wasn't that bad. I was finally able to clean out that front camera lens. It's had dust under it since it was new, and it always drove me crazy. But yeah, I think it's turned out perfect, and I'll be able to use this phone hopefully for another 3 years or so, and definitely get my money's worth out of it, because this was not a cheap phone. I'll be honest, I would have liked to have replaced the mid frame since I was already in there. I mean, I've got some chips in the metal frame, just a couple. There's one big one there, another one there, and one above the SIM tray. They're not bad, but I didn't realize exactly how much of the frame, like the frame just basically completely comes off, so it would have been super easy to replace it, but I didn't think to do that. But anyway, everything seems to work, so I'm really happy. I hope you found this entertaining, if not useful. I wouldn't recommend taking apart a Nexus 6 if you've never taken a phone apart before. While it wasn't hard, the adhesive definitely complicated things, and it's not something you want to do as a beginner per se, but overall I think it was still a pretty easy job to perform, and you can see I was able to do it without too much issue. This stuff, which I've never seen before, is really cool. It's this roll-on adhesive. I actually ordered some adhesive from eBay, but it didn't get here in time, and I was really itching to get started on this. So I got a whole roll of adhesive that's coming that I won't need now, but this stuff that I didn't know about before is really awesome. And of course, while I was in there, I just took some air duster to everything and got all the dust out, which is really nice to do anyway. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, thumbs it down. Just if you're gonna thumbs it down, at least give me some criticism, constructive criticism. You know, let me know what I did that was stupid or wasn't very smart. This is the first time I've ever taken apart a device that is glued together like that with adhesive. Most devices I've ever taken apart are just, you know, screws and it comes apart. So that was a bit of a new experience for me. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, take it easy.